Yo, what is going on YouTube? It's your boy John, aka Speros here, and in today's YouTube video, as you guys can tell by the title and the thumbnail, I'm going to be going over how you guys can actually make your game look better. I'm going to be going over tips that you guys can use on PS4, PS5, Xbox, and the new Xbox, and stuff that you guys can do on PC to make your game look better, be easier to spot people, and to just overall improve the experience on Black Ops Cold War. These are things that I've been using since the game has dropped. I've covered some of these in previous videos, but in this video, I'm going to be going over them in more detail. If you guys haven't already dropped a like, I would very much appreciate that. Subscribe if you guys are brand new around here. As you guys can see by the gameplay going on in the background, on the left, we have what it's going to look like before you guys apply the settings that I'm going to explain in this video. And then on the right, it's going to show you guys what it's going to look like after. I think that it looks significantly better with it, with the settings on. The game is kind of a night and day difference, in my opinion. And this is something that was just available to us on launch. So I want to bring this to you guys. Anyway, without further ado, guys, let's get right into what you guys can do. So if you guys are on console, we're going to get into those tips first. There's just a few things that you guys can do, not only to make the game a little bit brighter and easier for you guys to see people, especially in dark areas like that, but also to spot enemies a lot easier. As you guys know, when you guys aim at people, above their head pops up a red kind of, indicator with their name and their health bar. And we're going to go over how to change that to an actual brighter color that, you'll be able to see on more maps, especially on the darker maps. I think it's a massive difference and it helps out a lot. But the first thing, obviously I'm playing on PC currently, but you guys have in the display setting, you guys have all of these, the colorblind mode and brightness. These are going to be the two things that you guys can do on console. So as you guys can see, brightness naturally is on 50. You can barely see the Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War in the background. But as you guys increase the brightness, now just pretend that that is like a dark shadow. You don't want to go too far. You might, it depends. You might want to play on 100. You might want to see in the super dark corners. But for the most part, I think it's going to wash your game out. So I recommend it starts at 50. I recommend going up to around 75. Again, everybody's TVs and monitors, whatever you guys are gaming on, those are all different. So you guys might be able to go up to 100 without the game looking completely washed. For me, at 75, the brightness is already better. You can definitely see in that darker area a lot easier. And I think I can see a lot further away as well. It just brightens up the game a little bit. And then moving on. So the next thing that you guys can do on console to make it easier to spot people further away. Like I said earlier, if you guys ADS at somebody, their name pops above their head, and so does their health bar in that red color. But in my opinion, on maps like Miami and some of the darker maps, it's kind of harder to see it. What I find helps out the most, and what you guys have seen in the gameplay before, is when you guys go into these settings, down in the colorblind mode, it'll be in the graphic settings of your game or in the display settings. Go into the colorblind mode. Console does have this. Everybody has this. And then change the colorblind type. As you guys can see, up in the map up here, you see the enemy is kind of this like really washed out red. It doesn't really pop that much on the mini map. So what you're going to want to go ahead and do is change it over to Tritanopia. Put the colorblind setting on. It won't change in game too much. You won't really notice a difference. It will make some colors a little bit more vibrant, again making the game slightly more appealing. But then go down to the enemy color, and I go all the way over the second one in from the right and change that, and you guys can see it's kind of this brightish pink color. So above the enemy's head, it'll be this bright pink. Their name will come up in bright pink. The health bar will be bright pink. On the mini map, their dots come up as bright pink. It's a lot easier to see people not only on the mini map, but in game as you guys are, in gunfights, stuff like that, as you guys can see in the gameplay above. Unfortunately for people on console, that's pretty much all that you guys can do at the moment. You guys can't get it quite like we have it on PC with the before and the after. But if you guys are on PC and you guys have an NVIDIA graphics card, I'm going to go over right now how to get the game looking like this to looking like this. And this, I think, is a pretty drastic change. In my opinion, I think the game looks, about 10 times better. As you guys can see, the dark corners look better. It's a lot more vibrant, a lot, happier, I would say, would be like the way I describe it. I know it sounds kind of silly, but things are just a lot more appealing to the eye. It's slightly more cartoony. You guys could go that route, but I just rather have my games be vibrant, have more pop than just, kind of be kind of drab and dark and not, kind of grayed out a little bit. So I'm going to go over what you guys can do. And the easiest way to do this is if you guys have an NVIDIA graphics card, what you guys can go ahead and do. And some people on console are able to do this as well, because you guys can mess around with your monitor settings. Certain monitor settings have these settings that I'm about to go over. So you guys can copy these or just, play around with it. Again, I'm not going to go over monitor settings in particular, but just notice the settings that I'm putting on, and then you guys may be able to apply this on console as well. So with that being said, if you guys click Alt and Z, if you have an NVIDIA graphics card, this will pop up. Again, I'm playing on controller. As you guys can see, I'm using my mouse. You guys can go over and click on game filter. This is a built-in game filter that you guys can see. So this is with no filter on. This is the original game. This is what everybody plays on. This is with the filter on. You guys can see a night and day difference. It looks a lot brighter, a lot happier. I almost think it looks a lot clearer as well. Like I can almost see people further away. So now to get these settings, like I said, Alt Z, and then when you guys are in here, the first setting you guys are going to want to go ahead and add is the sharpen filter. I have specific values that I have found and tested on all of the maps that work the best, because again, you guys might need to tweak this depending on your monitor, but this is a good jumping off point. If you guys apply these, the game's going to automatically look better. You're going to be able to see more people, see further away, stuff like that. So the number one thing you want to do is when you guys add the sharpen filter, this is the first filter you guys are going to want to add. Ignore film grain, put that at 0%. You don't want any film grain. Film grain is very, very bad, as we all know. It makes things blurry, it makes it harder to see. And then you're going to want to go ahead and change the sharpen to 60%, or as close as you can get it to it. Sometimes it's tough to do. Another tip that you guys can use is after you guys click on this, you can actually use the arrow keys to kind of get more precise instead of trying to drag it back and forth. It's kind of a pain. But anyway, the next filter you guys are going to want to add is the color filter. Now this, as you guys can see, it's already changing the game, already changing it from what it looked like. We're going to go ahead and want to change the tint color to 0%. You're going to want to change the tint intensity to 0%. You're going to want to leave the temperature at 0. And then what you guys are going to want to do is turn the vibrance all the way up. This is basically the saturation. You can see if we turn it all the way down, it turns it black and white. But as we turn it up, this is what's going to give it that color, that pop. In conjunction with the sharpen is what kind of makes it easier to see people further away. Again, man, you put that at 0, kind of drab, you turn it all the way up, the vibrance, the game looks, you know, a night and day difference better. And then the next thing that we're going to do, you can see here, it's still kind of dark over here. You got some dark spots along the map, some shadows, things of that nature. We're going to brighten those up. We're going to go ahead and add the brightness and contrast filter. So in with the brightness and contrast, you're going to want the exposure at 0. You're going to want the contrast down at 0. That's going to help with the shadows. With the highlights, you're going to want that around 31%, 31, as close to it as you can get it. Again, man, like I said, there's no exact science. So 30%, 32%, as long as you're around there. And then these shadows, this is going to take this dark area and make it a lot lighter, a lot easier to see. You're going to go ahead and turn down the shadows. As you guys can see, it gets way easier to see in those shadows. And then obviously if you would turn it up on the other side, it's way harder to see and then way easier to see. So I recommend that. And then for the gamma, you're going to want to add 0%. And then this is basically it, man. This is how you get the game to look really, really good. Again, we can do the split screen and you guys can kind of see, you know, left versus right. The right is so much more vibrant. The colors pop a lot more. The dark areas aren't nearly as dark as before. This, in conjunction with having the player names turn purple above the head and stuff like that, is going to make it way, way, way easier in order to see people on Cold War. I hope that you guys enjoyed this gameplay. I'm going to be coming out with one of these for Warzone as well, because I do use these filters on Warzone, and I'll have a couple other tip videos for that. So anyway, guys, I appreciate y'all. Thank you guys for rocking with me. If you guys did enjoy this video, let me know in the comment section down below if you guys want to see more stuff like it. Also in the comment section down below, if you guys could let me know if you guys are using any NVIDIA settings, and if so, what settings you guys use, or any other tips you guys have for seeing people or making them easier to spot in Cold War. Anyway, guys, if you haven't already dropped a like, I'd very much appreciate that. If this video helped you guys at all, please consider subscribing. Without further ado, guys, it's been lit, it's been real, it's your boy Speros. I'm gonna catch y'all later, man. Peace.